was dating. Here's what upsets me about
I don't think she's dating him anymore.
I'm gonna tap in on that. I got you right here.
Okay.
Let's get this straight. All right. Mm-hmm. I have kids, right? Single dad life. We outside, right?
Right.
No, you inside.
We live. We live.
Yeah, you're right. I'm inside now. But that's,
you inside.
That's a story for another time.
You outside in outside not in.
I'm not outside no more. I'm inside. I got Crocs on. It's done. It's a wrap. It's over. It's over. But right now, we want to talk about Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer's been fine forever. Forever. Real dads, real men ain't tripping about their women, especially Keke Palmer fine ass, going out and feeling good about herself.
You also got to understand that when you are dating a celebrity and dating someone in the public eye like that, there is a much different situation. Like, don't get me wrong, you're right across the board. But when you're dating a celebrity, you also know that they're going to be out in public spaces dressed in certain ways.
Erase if she's a celebrity. Erase if she's even a celebrity. The fact that she is you bred it up. You shot the club up. You set. You good. That's you. I don't know. Y'all don't got kids, so y'all don't know about the baby mother, baby father agreement. But it looked like they together anyway. Well, not for that much longer. But my point being, my nigga, you need to relax. It's Usher. Usher ain't gonna do nothing but probably he might fuck her. I'm not gonna lie to you. He might fuck her. It's Usher. Don't leave your girl around me. True player for real. Ask him for real. We know who he is.
Came here to say who won it from the jump. Came here to get exactly what you want. Came here to say that you don't really want it with us. Yeah, we live, you know. We came here to say that you don't really want it with us. Yeah, the sports show.
I ain't gonna lie, that was too perfect not to end on that. So my bad. But yeah, no.
I mean,
right. Well,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I mean, that's probably what I'd be more scared about is like, at the end of the day, Keke Palmer gonna come home and be like, babe,
exactly.
It was Usher.
The sexy, flexy ass.
Niggas gotta give a whole pass for something.
Right.
Stop using the N-word.
I'm sorry. I gotta relax. All I'm saying is Keke Palmer fine is a motherfucker. That's all I'm saying. She can get a hall pass. As long as you coming home to me, we good. We straight. I'm sorry.
He should have never blasted. He should have never blasted her on the internet.
That part. That was the big one right
That's
there.
The part.
Like, you could disagree. You can disagree with what your woman is wearing. You can have your own ethical conundrum, whatever.
You really shouldn't. You really
do that at
disagree.
home.
You really, like, at the end of the day, she became a mother somehow, and she dressed a certain way when y'all was dating, and he was parading her around with her provocative clothing beforehand. So now she's a mother. She's supposed to be a nun. Like, that's not fair. She's a young woman.
Well, I ain't saying he was right.
Yo,
he's wrong all around the board.
Yeah,
and this is the same man that was twerking in his damn drawers online.
Okay,
he was wrong 12 ways to Sunday, and now he just is on the super losing end because he came back on social media and scrubbed Keke from everything. Like, bro, you don't get the one up because you scrubbed Keke. You still lose because you lost Keke.
Nah, he's stupid. I don't know if nobody say you got a baby by her. You got.
I'm telling you right now. If that damn show, The Surreal Life, was on, he'd be a contestant on the next season because the rest of his life is stuck on reality television.
You stupid. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Yerrr Sports Show, episode 138. I'm your host, Big Baby, a.k.a. the soul of R&B. And at the bottom left, we have the voice of a generation, Pete. Remember Rihanna slap you, whatever, Rosado.
He got to relax, too.
Listen. Brittany, leave Brittany alone. I'm just trying not to die in this humidity. Just trying not to die in this New York humidity. I don't know, Tavia, Dre. I don't know how y'all doing it.
You see me sweating. You saw me with my towel earlier. Like,
You know, I know Tavia was outside running around just a little bit earlier.
And she hot too.
You over here wearing a black shirt.
Happy.
Listen, I try not to wear any black shirts, which is why I gotta say, listen, you know, athletes, let me just put it like that. Please come up with other colors for your shirts except for black, because I can't wear them in the summertime. Because I'm not gonna sweat on top of already sweating. Just not doing it.
Okay, noted. You got it.
Yeah.
For the bottom, in the bottom right, we have DK Matt, aka the single dad from the Tyler Perry movies.
I really feel like Idris Elba, just less attractive. It's not even right. But yeah, fuck all that. Keke Palmer fine as fuck. I don't understand this. Like
Matt, run your game, shoot your shot, bro.
I want to. I'm telling you now. If Keke Palmer's outside, I'm coming outside. That's all I'm saying. You gotta run.
You're a little too aggressive. That's
I'm
scary.
just saying, Keke Palmer fine. Man, I have 3 crushes in my lifetime. It was Christina Milian, because I know y'all saw Love Don't Cause a Thing. Right? It's Christina Milian, it's Keke Palmer, and it's Kyla Pratt. I'm letting you know now.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, Matt, I think you have a really good chance. And I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at Keke Palmer, and right now all I'm seeing is Max and Roxanne from a Goofy movie. I think you got this.
That's hilarious, actually. That's hilarious, actually. Oh man, that was good, Peter. That was good. That was good.
You got that.
And at the top right,
he hyped me up for it too. He
got you. He put you up there, and then he windmilled on top of you.
Vince Carter, I hear you.
Right.
You got that. Wow.
And at the top of the food chain, we have the ruler of all, the Queen Tay.
What's good, everybody?
Like a dark magic.
Tay's currently our outdoor reporter. What is the weather like there out there, Queen?
It feels very Rikers Islandish if somebody says the wrong thing. So I'm just trying to stay cool and just do my laundry in peace because I don't have the patience today.
I'm not going back.
And in the laundromat? Oh, Lord.
Not going back.
Oh,
can't do it. My father keeps calling me and just laughing at me because my father just sitting in his house with central air.
I do too, but it don't feel like nothing.
My pops just calls me. He's like, "You hot?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Not me."
I'd have been like, "I hope your air shuts off."
I mean, you can survive what you got. You survived the blackout. That was.
So I wasn't here for the blackout.
You lucky son of a bitch.
I was in North Carolina for the blackout.
Boy, I was in the worst place
central
ever.
air.
I was in the worst place ever.
In North Carolina.
You was in the central air.
In the central air for the blackout.
That blackout, I was stuck in Soundview Projects. I'll never forget it. And all
I had to walk from fucking excuse my language. I'm gonna curb my cursing. I had to walk from Lower Manhattan all the way. If you don't know where Brooklyn is or anything about Brooklyn, I walked from Lower Manhattan to my Kings Plaza Mall.
Yo, what type of that?
Goddamn,
that's the Underground Railroad right there.
Yo,
yes.
Yo, and we're about to hit the 20-year anniversary of the blackout too. Next month.
I don't want no type of anniversary for that.
Next month is the 20-year anniversary.
To this day, I still don't fuck with Nina Sky. I heard not Nina Sky, it was Luma D. I heard Never Leave, at least 30 times an hour.
Like
That's so annoying.
It was torture. It was torture.
Oh
it was
my God, Joe.
It was Lumi D. It was Joe Budden, Pump It Up was another one. And then it was Chingy right there.
Boy.
Oh man, that was a terrible time.
I was so
and
tight.
It was Jay-Z. Excuse me, what's your name?
Oh my. Fuck with that shit. That was my shit.
That was a bad time.
I remember
when you think about it.
The blackout came as soon as Making It the Band was supposed to come on. I remember that too. I was so aggravated.
When we sit here, we talk about like 20 years ago, and we're only talking about 2003. Like that's ridiculous. Like when you really think about how time has passed, like 20 years ago is 2003. Like I remember like it was yesterday when you would say 20 years ago and you were talking about the 80s.
Sheesh. Oh man. But where do we start? Because there's been a lot going on. No, I want to start with kind of the most serious thing, and let's talk about
Britney Spears getting slapped.
No. We actually probably won't even talk about that because
I'm just saying she looked basic. I would have confused her for a regular Jane too. Like
no,
in my peripheral,
but
she's wearing a hat.
She wasn't even wearing a hat. The thing was, she was walking behind his security detail, and if you're running behind somebody trying to tap them, I expect my security to Falcon punch you into the next century. Just like I expect you to turn into dust, because why are you running behind me and trying to touch me? I don't know who you are if I'm looking this way.
But he was swatting at her hand. He wasn't swatting
I
at her.
also feel like a larger issue is the fact that, you know, like apparently, like the kid has not played a single game in the NBA. Not a single game. Mm-hmm. Okay, he has done absolutely nothing of note in his athletic professional life. And yet we have a full security detail around this child.
Have to.
Who tells him, don't stop at all because it can cause a massive commotion. Since when does a nobody who's done nothing besides get drafted, like, it boggles my mind just how the world has become, and like that's the problem. I could understand if it's LeBron. I could understand if it's a Hall of Famer. I could understand if it's a legend. I could understand if it's a current player. The kid hasn't scored not one bucket in the NBA.
I get it. Go ahead, Matt.
LeBron had that same, well, not the same. I think his fanfare was worse when he was coming into the league.
But LeBron was also widely covered on a national level from high school.
I think you are delusional still about LeBron James all these years later.
Who, me?
Yes.
How? LeBron did get fanfare before he got drafted. What are you talking about?
That's the first time I ever saw. I will say this, Tay. The first time I ever saw people around the country wearing a damn high school basketball jersey that they never went to. There are people out here that own the Irish jersey for Akron.
That's what I'm saying. His high school games was nationally televised
on ESPN. I think that's what started the whole.
I knew who LeBron was my 7th grade year. And I
believe LeBron was the beginning of ESPN kind of getting into the whole, you know, showing high school games and stuff like that.
But to be honest with you, that summer of 2003 was marred by the Kobe case. So that's why a lot of the fanfare that summer going into LeBron James is kind of cut on the mainstream stage. And I think at the end, that was his rookie. That was going into his rookie year. That was 20 years ago this week that the rape accusations were dropped against Kobe. 20 years ago this week.
The crazy thing is, I was hearing about.
So LeBron getting drafted caused a blackout.
Yeah, LeBron got drafted during the time where the media was all Kobe all the time and still focusing on the rift between Kobe and Shaq as well. So yeah, he had the fanfare. Don't get me wrong, but people were not. The NBA had an image issue that summer to kind of repair, and I think that's what happened. But you weren't hearing LeBron's security guard punching any woman. Like at the end of the day, there's a way to me to do security work, and I understand that you want to protect the asset and you want to protect your client, but you don't have to full on punch anybody at all. He could have restrained her instead of punching her. That shows that you're still doing this old 80s nightclub type of bouncing. And if this is someone who may be a draft bust, he may be the next face of the league. But at the end of the day, like it could never be that serious.
I ain't gonna lie, Tavia. If I was your security, I'm swinging on everybody. Don't go. Don't run up behind me.
But
Sorry,
now, but you
don't run
know
up
what?
behind
But
us.
now she can sue,
Oh, she is suing.
rightfully so.
She
made
is
more money
suing.
than him.
But what? So upon watching the video again, we don't know how hard the slap was, but when you look at it, it's like, oh, maybe you didn't have to do that. But it looked like he was just like swinging wildly backwards. So
It looked like he was just swinging for her hand because she was brushing at him. It looked like he just swung
at the same time, again, granted, you got to pay attention. You can't just be swinging wildly.
That's the shit
You know what? No wonder the 2003 draft was so good.
What?
The 2003 draft, LeBron's draft?
Yeah.
I just realized why it's so special. Not only was LeBron and Wade and everybody drafted.
Melo.
Luke Walton was drafted in that draft.
So this is the first time I've done this in a while.
They would be wanting me to not fucking
so
yeah.
Anyway, moving forward, again, a little bit more serious note. The day before the 4th of July, in Baltimore, in the Brooklyn section of Baltimore, there was a mass shooting. 30 people were hit, 2 of them passed away, and the 2 gunmen are still at large. It just serves to a bigger problem that we have in the country where we're talking about gun violence. This was the 340th active mass shooting in the country this year. 340th. And people are complaining about their rights with their guns. The problem with giving everybody a gun or everybody having guns is stuff like this happens. And the day before that, something happened in I believe Wisconsin or Nebraska or something like that. Like when does it end? When does it stop? Like what has to be done for these people to be taken off the streets or just to limit the amount of guns that people are getting? Like how can we stop that? Not we as a podcast, but how does the country stop that?
Trying to figure out why we need guns as a whole in the first place. To be told, like, was not saying like I don't have a gun. We all probably carry arms, or whatever the case may be. But it's like it's not a necessity. I think it's been, for some reason, America makes it seem like it's a necessity to have a gun or carry a firearm, and it just. We make it permissible for people that don't really know, one, how to use a gun responsibly, 2, the reason for having a gun responsibly, and then we're making it easily for our kids to use it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the capacity of who these two guys are that are still at large and did this shootout in Baltimore, whatever the case may be. I'm more strung up on the fact that it was a lot of kids that got hit and passed away. These are kids. We're talking about of average a good 90% of the people that got hit and that were that the 2 that passed away, they're kids. They're under 19. Their life is taken away. Like there's no coming back from that. For what? And I'm pretty sure they probably weren't even the targets. They were probably just having a good time at a block party and got shot and or lost their life. It's just, why is carrying a firearm a necessity in America? That's really the question I answered.
What's interesting in this country, because I'm not going to stand on either side of the should we or should we not debate, because there are valid points on both sides, right? Like I sit here and I fully understand those people who believe that, guns should be banned and no one should be allowed to have a gun unless you need one for your job. And I fully understand those people who are like, well, I'm a responsible person with, who knows how to handle my firearm. My father is a veteran who has a weapon at home, and it is locked up, and he only takes it out when he goes to the shooting range, and he goes back home, and it's in a box, and it's safely away, right? So, and there are lots of people who are responsible gun owners. So I hear both sides of the argument, and I understand and believe that there are good points on both sides of the argument. But my larger point is, for a person to be eligible to get an apartment in most states, you need to have X amount of income that you can prove. You need to have X amount of payment history. You need to have a down payment. You need to have this. You need to have that. Everything needs to line up. For me to rent a car, I need to meet all these different qualifications. For me to drive my own vehicle, for me to own my own vehicle, I have to meet all these different qualifications. There are so many things in this country where the hoops and hurdles we have to jump through in order to allow those things to happen are incredible. Yet you can walk into a Walmart in many states of this country at the age of 18, 19, 20 and buy a weapon and buy ammunition and get licensed. And again, if I sit on the side, I don't have a problem with regular firearms. My issue is the hell you need an AR-15 for? The hell you need an automatic weapon for? The hell you need a modified pistol that could shoot off 30 rounds in 2 minutes, right? Or less than 2 minutes and do all these. There's no need for it, right? And the problem is, if we try to regulate it, the larger issue ends up being that there is a larger problem with illegal weapons, right? Because yes, we do have a lot of mass shootings. When we talk about mass shootings, when we talk about massive loss of life, we're talking about people who usually are registered gun owners. Like, we're not talking about illegal weapons at this point. When we talk about any one of the mass shootings in the United States, we are more than likely talking about someone who legally had access to weapons, had multiple legal weapons registered in their name, and utilized them to create mass murder. But when we talk about, a lot of times, the gun violence that we see day to day in this country, it is because of guns that are on the illegal market. And the problem is, if we regulate it, we continue to see a rise in the illegal market. If we try to shut down the illegal, then you try to shut down the illegal market, which is hard to do because we still haven't shut down the drug market yet, right? The legal market still exists. I think that, and the one thing I've always stood by my entire life, I honestly think, just like with many things in life, there should be an incredible psychological testing to happen for people who want to own a gun. I believe you should have the right to own a gun. But if you want to own a gun, the same way if you want to rent a car, you want to own a car, you want to own a home, you have to go through certain things. You should have psychological testing. You should have to re-undergo testing, licensing, everything every couple of years, whether it be 2 years or 3 years, whatever. Because here's the thing. There's a big difference between the 21-year-old who owns the gun and the 75-year-old 55 years later who's now using the gun, right? There's a big difference. And I just like when you're driving a car, my grandmother was no longer allowed to drive because her vision did not meet certain standards. Could she drive? Yes. Was she fine? Yes. But the state law was, if you don't meet this standard, you can no longer do this. And we don't argue about those things. We huff and we puff, but we don't argue about it. And I think the same thing should happen when it comes to owning a gun. You want to own a gun? Fine. You want to legally own a gun? Fine. I don't believe you should be owning anything that is automatic. I believe there should be a restriction on the amount of firearms you own in your home unless you have a special exemption. And to get said special exemption, there should be a rigorous a line of accreditation, for lack of a better word, that I'm thinking of right now.
Classification.
That you have to go through to do that. I do believe you have the right to defend your home. You know, Matt has his children at home. If Matt went and legally had a weapon at his home, was registered to defend his home, I don't see an issue with that, right? I also don't think that, you know, you need something, you know, that's going to kill an anti-tank to defend your home. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, when you've got people who've got enough ammunition and weaponry in their basements to arm a small militia, that's a problem. That is a problem.
I'm surprised what I see in the streets, bro. It's crazy. Like, I saw a dude with a fucking rocket launcher. I'm like, motherfucker, for what? Like, what do you need a rocket launcher for? What?
Like, if you want to tell me you're a hunter,
yes,
you're a hunter. You know, if you're a hunter and you want to have certain hunting weapons, again, special exemptions. There should be something that you have that states you're allowed to have that. And if you ever use it in a capacity that it's not supposed to be used in, you should lose the privilege. That's it.
Go ahead, Queen.
You know, being somebody, I was just in Baltimore over the weekend, actually. And every time you hear these mass shootings, it hits closer and closer to home. And America has a sick affinity with the Second Amendment. And I feel like they forget sometimes that the Second Amendment was written hundreds of years ago. And back then you had a musket gun that only shot maybe one bullet per aim, right? Or maybe two if you were fancy. So
yeah,
I agree 100% with Peter that, you know, I do feel like people do have a right to defend their homes and protect their space, but you don't need an AR-15 to do so.
Right.
And it should be harder to get a gun. It is harder to buy a pack of cigarettes than it is to buy a gun.
You know what's in? Oh, go ahead, Queen.
It's hard. It's harder to get married than it is to buy a gun. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, and like I said, Peter's example of people driving and stuff like that, it hits it right in the nose. So I really don't have much to really say besides what a tragedy. And it's going to keep happening until somebody has a goal to do something. But the money from the gun industry is too good. And, you know, we learned that with Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
When little babies were massacred. You get what I'm saying? The Uvalde shooting. They're showing us that little children mean nothing when it comes to that gun money.
You know, the funny thing is like, and Tavia's right. The Bill of Rights was written in the 1700s, right? So hundreds of years ago, right? 1700. And here's the thing. For all you Constitution thumpers out there, for all you people that's like, the Constitution is what it is, it cannot be changed. You realize that every single right in the Constitution is called an amendment. By definition, an amendment can be, amended, which means fixed, updated. If I'm not mistaken, you know, it's been a long time since I've taken basic U.S. history. But if I'm not mistaken, the original Bill of Rights only had 10 amendments. We have way more than 10 now. Why? Because over the last 200-something years, we've realized, something's wrong. It wasn't in the Constitution then. We should put it in the Constitution now. But as Tavia said, when it's something that, you know, positively affects a certain market of people, when it's something that people want to keep on their side, all of a sudden we can't amend it, right? All of a sudden we can't amend it. Understand that when the amendment was written, that the idea of the government shall not infringe upon your right to bear arms was because we literally were coming out of a war in which the head of state was a monarch who laid down laws for the entire state. And so it was, just in case, the United States government, which was in its infancy, decided to, we're going to take over the country. We want to go back to some kind of like monarch situation or a dictatorship. The people could rise up against the government and defend themselves against the well-armed militia. By the way, newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, in the 1700s, we could have stood up to the United States military because it wasn't that big, it wasn't that bad, and it wasn't that advanced. Right now, in 2023, I don't care how many guns you get from Walmart and Dick's Sporting Goods, you're not going to stand up to the might of the United States military in 2023 if the military decides to go rogue. They have anti-air missiles that will shoot you in the ass from 200,000 feet away. And they got to press a button in a bunker. So let's stop the bullshit.
Right. What is that, Matt? We can't hear you, so.
My bad. Single dad shit. Luka just got engaged. No, I'm just lying.
Congratulations.
Rosenberg,
and didn't Peter Rosenberg get married today?
Who?
I don't care about none of them. 30 people got shot. Like what?
But and if y'all want to know, listen, if you want to hear it better than I could ever say it, if y'all don't know, I mean, I think everybody on this podcast knows who he is. But if you don't know who George Carlin is, go look up George Carlin and go look up, his bit on rights and privileges. And listen, you want to look at the text of it, you can look at the text and read it yourself. It's from his comedy special, It's Bad For You. Look it up, watch it, read it, understand it, because the man makes the most sense ever.
Yeah. So
how you don't care about Luka getting married? That's love. I don't really believe in this shit no more. But,
he got married to Kyrie.
Anyway, moving on to sports.
You won't quit, huh? You. Kyrie ain't even in Brooklyn no more. You still throwing bullets at him. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. And he did what he was supposed to do when he got
missed the playoffs. Yes,
it's not his fault. Dallas got rid of their whole goddamn roster to get him.
For him to make the playoffs.
You need to talk to Mark Cuban. That's Mark Cuban fuck up. That ain't his. He did what he was supposed to do.
They were also 5-11 together on both of them on the court. So both of their faults. They both suck together.
It's not his
if
fault.
I'm not mistaken, didn't the Nets have a losing record when Kyrie and KD were both on the court together? Oh, right. They did.
I don't recall that.
Didn't Boston have a losing record whenever Kyrie was playing with the squad and they had a winning record when he was not playing? Oh yeah.
Not true either.
Seems like that's a trend that seems to follow.
It's not a good trend at all.
Seems like we have some kind of data.
You need proof of this because I don't recall none of this shit.
This is data.
There's no data.
Pete, pull up the proof.
Yeah, pull the stats up.
While we're
bullshitting right now. That's
so.
You want to blame Kyrie for the Mavericks sucking? Gotta relax.
So the ESPN has laid off about.
There were stats that showed that there were teams that were more effective when Kyrie was off the court. I think that was during the Celtics time, but Peter did not just make that up. I did hear that before, and that was something that they continuously said during his time with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, granted, the way that the Nets were shaped, they did do better when he was on the court. But remember, he only played half the time. But I'm not too sure about the Maverick stats. But I know for the Celtics, that's true. That was sad, and that's when they
2 seasons in Boston.
Time for the trades.
He missed 56 games in his 2 seasons in Boston, and the Celtics went 37-19.
You said what?
Without him on the court.
Like that.
In his 2 seasons with Boston, he missed a total of 56 games. And in the 56 games that the Celtics played without Kyrie Irving, they went 37-19. That is a 66% of their games without Kyrie.
So were they losing when he was on the team? They were horrible when he played? Is that what you're telling me? Were they above 500 or were they below 500?
So I got to look at what their record was in those 2 seasons.
Okay, you do that.
But I think with him on the team, they went and this is just him being on the roster. They were 78-49 with him on the roster. And he missed 56 games. So do with that what you would 37-19. So that means they lost 20 games. Yeah, I gotta look at it. I gotta look at it a little bit more in depth.
It sounds like they were still above 500. That's what it sounds like.
While you're doing the math, ESPN mass fired about 20 on-air talent, which includes Jalen Rose, Max Kellerman, and Stan Van Gundy, with potentially more down the line. As many of us know, they are trying to cut costs, but they also signed Pat McAfee to a $18 million, somewhere in that line, $30 to $18 million contract. How's this going to change the landscape of ESPN? And do you see them firing more people?
Is that a question to me?
Yes.
First of all, they didn't sign Pat McAfee. They just acquired the show. So I think that needs to be corrected. A lot of people are saying like, "Oh, how can they have just put Pat McAfee on the roster and then they let go of all these people?" All in all, this is all the effects of COVID-19 and the pandemic. So I mean, what were you expecting? Disney World was closed for like a year and a half. So I mean, and then the streaming killed the movie theater. So a lot of those movies were being watched and rewatched on the Disney Channel, with the Disney Plus channel. You're gonna lose money. I mean, that's just all in all what it is. Mickey Mouse owns ESPN, so people had to go. I'm not happy with a lot of people that had to go. I'm actually a little, disheartened that Matt Kellerman had to go. I'm lying. He had to go. He really had to go. It was just no.
So Pat McAfee.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Pat McAfee contract is worth $85 million over 5 years. Perceived pay cut from 4 years. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, he's signed to ESPN. It's not just acquiring his show. That's for him and the show. So ESPN threw Pat the bag
because his show is being successful. It's not like, oh, you're going to see Pat McAfee on First Take or First Things First or all these other shows or whatever the case may be. He has his own show. It's a show that he already built up. They're just paying him more money for.
I got you, but what I'm saying, they're not even paying him more money. To be honest, he's getting more money off FanDuel. He was getting about $40 million more on FanDuel, but in a long term, with ESPN being the worldwide leader in sports, he's going to eventually get more eyes, and he's bringing an audience. And I think that's what's happening over there in ESPN, that they want people who have their own audience to bring it over to get them more ratings. It's no longer, oh, well, you're good at basketball. You were good at basketball, so come talk basketball with us. Or you were good at football, so come talk football with us.
I think that's the larger issue, right? The larger issue is you paid Pat McAfee this boatload of money to bring his audience over and you're essentially, throwing your hands up and waving the white flag and saying, we couldn't do it ourselves, right? You had a lot of talent. Like, literally everybody on FS1 is former ESPN people, right? Some of them, I'm glad they left, right? Right? Like, Whitlock can go fall down 17 mountains, right?
Twice.
But you had, like, when I was coming up watching ESPN, you had your Sports Center anchors, You had talk show hosts. You had stuff that generated intrigue and things. There's a reason why Pardon the Interruption is still on the air all these years later, because they've generated and cultivated a following and a fan base, right? And Around the Horn, which a lot of people may not remember, started with Max Kellerman as the host, right? And then eventually changed to Tony Reali, right? They've kept going for as long as they have because they've generated a good following and a good fan base. But ESPN has also constantly shot itself in the foot. You canceled the literal foundation of your crossover radio television audience from 6 to 10 in the morning when you canceled Mike and Mike in the Morning because you wanted to go and make Mike Greenberg a solo star. Why? You had a great thing going from 6 to 10 in the morning. And since then, they have not been able to replace it. They haven't. Everything they put in there has been a revolving door, right? They've changed all their ESPN radio hosts constantly. They don't know what they want. They want to be national radio or local radio. And then when you look at their television programs, I mean, people may not remember this. Y'all might. Y'all remember Cold Pizza?
Yep.
On ESPN2?
Basically, what turned into First Take. Yeah.
Right. That, they had a good thing there. They had a great Monday Night Countdown crew. They had a great basketball crew. Sunday Night Baseball was always a great show to watch. Like, you had great things going. You had great analysts. You had Harold Reynolds was one of their big baseball guys, and then Harold Reynolds was gone. Like, ESPN has constantly dropped the ball on the talent that they've had, and then they wonder why they're not able to generate content and a fan base. You don't have to pay Pat McAfee if you had cultivated the talent you had in-house and built what you had. I remember when Jim Rome had his own show, as controversial as the man was. Right? You had Jim Rome, Stephen A. Smith when he had his original show. You had so many different things that were going on ESPN that were really, really good. And ESPN punted on each and every one of them.
Yep. Queen, your thoughts on everything going on at ESPN?
All this, yeah. Tay?
I'm here. You don't have to do that. I think it's a reflection of how people consume sports. And it's been a changing landscape since COVID-19. And the structure of the Pat McAfee show works. Traditional in-studio content doesn't work the same. ESPN didn't have the same feel to me once the merger with Disney happened either. It felt like it was a whole different ballgame. And they may have done well as far as content because we're from a generation that's used to consuming content in that way. But I believe that they're trying to target a new audience, and Pat McAfee's views and how he runs his show and the reach that he has is massive. And I think that right now we're seeing the shift from instead of seeing the same sports stories every hour on the hour, we like to see more micro consumptions of things. People want news, they want it quick, and they want it fast. That's why the podcast industry isn't booming like it once was at one time too. Everybody had a podcast at one time because people were driving in their cars, going to work. And once the pandemic led to more flexible work environments for most people, I'm not listening to the radio as much. I'm not watching traditional TV as much. Either I macro consume things and watch things like in a stream, like 6 episodes in a row, or I'm not watching it at all.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly that. That's why YouTube numbers have massively increased as well, because it's about how much people consume in the little bit of time that they may or may not have. And ESPN is going to pretty much go that route. It's like short and sweet to the point. Even though First Take is the number one show on the network, A1 and A2 with SportsCenter, you see in the 2-hour format, they repeat the same stories at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's just annoying.
Just with different people giving different opinions. And sometimes it's the same people giving opinions. And not everybody wants to see that. So Tay's point about Pat McAfee and basically giving a brand new take on how sports media is presented, you're right. That definitely could be the next wave of entertainment, or the next wave of the way they show sports on ESPN for the long run. Yeah, that's it's tough because you never want a bunch of people getting fired or anything like that. But
I mean, but Dre, real shit. When was the last time you really sat down and watched ESPN? Like,
I watch
remember SportsCenter was just the thing. It was like everybody just had SportsCenter on. I only watch ESPN for First Take, and I hardly watch ESPN for First Take. I catch glimpses of the show like as far as highlights on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I just listen to the podcast while I'm at work. But other than that, I don't really watch ESPN like that. Unless the game is on.
Yeah.
That's it. So I mean, they're losing money. I know there's a lot of people that have fallen off from that norm because everything is oversaturated to the point you don't need to be in front of your TV to catch certain things. When you have YouTube, by the way, make sure you follow the Yerrr Sports Show on YouTube.
Yeah, but I've heard they lost money in streaming with the ESPN Plus. Not so much like people watching. I think people are going to cut on ESPN and just leave the shit on. But
they lost mad money with ESPN Plus because
they
nobody was
lost
going to pay
a ton of money. Yeah, I'm not paying for ESPN. Oh, well, I mean, I'm paying it with the Hulu bundle and stuff. So I'm paying
a bundle with Hulu and Disney.
Yeah, I'm playing in Disney Plus. I'm playing for the bundle, but I'm not paying. Like when the USC pay-per-views come on, I'm not paying for no. I'm not paying $60 for a pay-per-view. No more. Them days is long gone.
And that's the thing. I think ESPN overrated. ESPN very much overrated and overshot not the value of UFC, because I think UFC is an extremely valuable commodity, but they really overshot and overvalued how much people were going to be willing to pay for access to, right? And that was the big thing, and that's where ESPN screwed themselves. The worst part about it is when you really think about it from a content standpoint, ESPN was doing podcasts long before anybody else was, but they weren't when – the problem was that a lot of the ESPN executives were very much stuck in the olden ways, and a lot of its talent wanted to kind of push. So you had guys like Dan Le Batard and others who wanted to push the podcast realm, wanted to push that, and they would get pulled into meetings. And Dan Le Batard actually spoke about this when he spoke about when he left ESPN. Him and his team would go into meetings all the time, and they would tell him, well, your numbers are down. People aren't listening to your show when it's on live. People aren't tuning in, so we might have to take your show off the air. And he's like, but wait a minute, look at this. And they're like, what is that? And he's like, these are all the streaming numbers. These are the people who are listening to our show on podcast form. These are the people who are listening to our show 3 hours later when they're at work, whatever it may be. And the numbers were significant, but the executives they didn't understand it. And so to them, it didn't make sense. And so you had a lot of the people that wanted to push in that area leave. And then now when ESPN's like, oh, we have to go into podcasting and streaming, now you've got no talent to do it with because everybody's left.
Yeah. It's true.
I still listen to First Take on streaming, on podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of another show that's on the opposite network, Undisputed is looking for a new host. It's been said that, I
thought Lil Wayne and Young Money was going to be on the show now. What happened?
Yeah, from what I heard, that's what Skip would want to do, but again, that's just people speculating. I think Jalen Rose should be the co-host of Undisputed.
Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop doing my man Skip like that. Y'all gotta. It's like y'all want to see my man fail so bad. Please tell me y'all been watching the camera on the Mace thing. The it is what it is thing. Boy, Yo, the way they drag Skip Bayless is not even funny, bro.
He deserves it.
They call him a culture vulture. They feel like he can only be successful if he has like
Another black person on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Come on, yo. I mean, Max Kellerman is
So you want to see Skip Bayless and Max Kellerman?
I feel like Skip would drag Max Kellerman. I'm not gonna hold you. Like I really feel like that would happen.
So you would sit and watch Skip Bayless and Max Kellerman?
I'm a supporter of Skip. I fuck with Skip. Skip is
You're not answering the question. You just like you this around it, but it's okay.
I listen to a lot of things when I'm at work on podcast form. So I mean, I wouldn't turn it down. I'll give it a chance, but I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't listen to the Max Kellerman show with who was it? J. Will and Keyshawn. What happens to that show? Because isn't that stream?
No, it's gone. It's canceled.
Yeah, that got canceled.
They got canceled. Once that got canceled, all right, you
bro,
do
Max
Will.
and Keyshawn got fired.
Yeah.
But J. Will kept his job. Yo.
Well, they needed somebody to give them actual expert NBA analysis now that they got rid of damn Jeff Van Gundy.
That was uncalled for. Jeff Van Gundy is a national treasure.
That he is.
I mean,
hey, we might get
he's
Doris
the Knicks coach for life.
We might get Doris Burke basically hosting the finals then next year.
Yay.
But again, when I look at when you look at the 10 polls that ESPN used to have,
mm-hmm.
the NFL Sunday show, Sunday Night Baseball, NBA Tonight, like when you look at those shows, like those were the 10 polls. You know, Berman and Tom Jackson, like there was no better pairing than Chris Berman and Tom Jackson on
Chris
Sunday
Berman
Night Football.
made ESPN fun. Yeah.
You know, the greatest man to do highlight voiceovers. Like Chris Berman doing a voiceover for an NFL highlight for a running back was the greatest thing in the world. Because you were just waiting for the what? Like they really dropped the ball on a lot of things. And it's at this point it's nobody's fault. And I think Tavia was 100% right. They just have not been the same since the merger with Disney. At the end of the day, now they have to account for a lot of their mistakes. And honestly, I think the merger with Disney saved ESPN. It was more ESPN needed Disney than Disney needed ESPN.
Queen, who do you think should be across from Skip Bayless?
I think it's time to hang it up. I don't think anybody should be across from Skip Bayless. I think he needs to go walk with the greener pasture. I think it's over.
I hate him so much.
So I would rather see any content with Shannon Sharp. I would like to see actually Shannon Sharp get his own show on ESPN.
Oh, jeez.
I would too. That would be good.
Oh my man, Drip Bayless like this.
Because he's a vulture.
Come on. Y'all said the same thing about Justin Timberlake and Justin Bieber. Y'all got
Same. I never said that about Justin Bieber. Yes, please. I never said that about Justin Bieber, but Justin Timberlake pro show. He is the poster child for culture vulture.
I gotta relax, man.
Yeah, if there was definitely a poster, Justin Timberlake would be in the front breakdancing.
You gotta stop.
You know what? Justin Bieber never had no damn cornrows. Or never wore Jerry curl.
Like really?
And never tried to do everything black except date black women. I
mean,
what you mean?
Like
Justin Timberlake,
and also
doing all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
He did everything to shuck and jive for blacks to get y'all to buy his music. Except, and then he embarrassed one of the most notable black women in the world and let her take the fall and ruin her career.
Mm-hmm.
Basically ruined her career.
How did he ruin her career?
You don't have fucking Google. You don't look things up. I guess your Google is set to whatever you want to believe.
Janet Jackson's career is not ruined. She is widely
ruined. She was blackballed from a lot of high-profile events afterwards.
Yeah,
for years.
In terms of the mainstream, Matt, like, yeah, in the culture, in the community, with us, Janet Jackson is a legend, will never be touched. But in terms of like being that mainstream kind of like right there, you know, just titty. That was it. Like, America got mollified by just a single titty. And it's just like, what?
Goddamn Justin Timberlake just doing shit, man.
I honestly think it was just white men that were just upset that they got caught staring and their wives were upset at them.
That could have been it too.
That's what it was. And then the white man needed a way out. So they were like, goddamn titty on television. That's terrible. And of course you had all the white women that were calling in because they were like, my titties don't look as good as that.
That's funny. Don't even know how to. I really don't even know how to transition from that.
Right, because America act like they never seen a titty before. Like they never seen a titty before in their life.
Right. I don't even know how to transition to that. But Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge.
He's seen a titty.
I'm pretty sure he's seen a bunch. Aaron Judge.
As much money as we pay him,
is out.
Better be seeing titties.
Regardless, Aaron Judge is going to be out for the remainder of the season. And if we're going to talk about the Yankees season real quick, it hasn't been what people expected at all. But with Aaron Judge now being out for the season, what does this
not
do?
Yet.
Well, potentially being out for the season.
Yeah, potentially being out, yeah.
What is this going to do for the Yankees, Pete?
I mean, listen, after last night, 14-1, losing to the Orioles, I mean, it's doing a lot. I mean, when I want to think about it like this. If I would have told you.
How many times have the Yankees lost by double digits this year?
Been a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. But if I would have told you that it was July 7th, and Carlos Rodon is going to pitch his first game. Aaron Judge is potentially going to be out for the season. Stanton has been a shell of himself. LeMahieu has been a shell of himself. Donaldson's been hitting 135. Severino has been nothing near where he's supposed to be. And Jonathan Loaizaga has not thrown a single pitch this year, and the Yankees are 8 games over 500. You wouldn't have believed me. You would have thought that was a pipe dream. There's no way that could have been the case. But we are 8 games over 500. Right? I don't know how long that stays. Because it's very tough. I mean, we're tied with the Blue Jays right now. The Orioles and the Rays are leading the division. We're only 3 games ahead of the Red Sox. When you look at the wild card standings, I mean, right now we're pretty. We're in 3rd place in the American League, and that's another thing, just how bad the American League has been. The Yankees are in 3rd place in the American League. They won't win their division, but they are in 3rd place in the wild card. Right, in the wild card. So when you look at it, it'd be Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Texas would win the division, and the Yankees would make the playoffs right now if the season ended today. If Judge is out for the season, it's going to be really rough for the Yankees. I think at this point, we try to see what we could get at the trade deadline for what we have, which I don't think is much, and we do our best to really just bring people along slowly. And we just chalk the season up as it is what it is. I mean, the Yankees are still going to play to the very end. They're never going to say that they're out of it. But this team has been built around Judge. And when Judge is out, you've seen just how bad the team has been. I saw one of our comments say we don't have any reliable hitters. We don't. I mean, Volpe is essentially a rookie. He's finally coming along. Stanton is, feast or famine. LeMahieu is no longer what he used to be. We really need to There really needs to be, in my opinion, a shift in philosophy in how the Yankees are built as a team. And they really need to start realizing that they have a lot of deficiencies. And the Band-Aid just isn't going to do it anymore.
Matt? Talk to the kiddos. Queen, thoughts on the Yankee season so far, and with this Judge injury, what do you think is going to happen?
He needed to sue because I feel like it was an intentional injury done by the Dodgers, and he needs to seek compensation because the Yankees' Yankee season is going down the tubes. The Yankees season is going down the tubes, and I'm currently getting my pedicure and manicure done. This is a great feeling. But
go ahead.
Yeah, of course. I feel like when I went to see the Yankees about a month ago, there was just no fight there. They looked like they were just fighting for their lives against the Red Sox. And they lost the series, but they won that particular game. And it took everything for them to win that game. And I think that is going to be the theme for the rest of the season. They're all, like Peter said, it's the Yankees, so they're always going to be in the conversation. But at the end of the day, I don't think that season goes, that far without Judge.
I agree.
And isn't it weird about New York sports? Like every time we invest in someone
They get hurt.
wholeheartedly, like they get hurt, and like that's the case in like with even the football giants, with the Knicks, with the Nets,
The
with
Jets.
the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers got a calf strain.
Yeah, because he was dancing. He was dancing at the Taylor Swift concert.
You gotta
Like
relax.
he didn't have no damn sense, and he was partying. He's been having a hot boy summer. I'm about to call him Fat Rogers.
What? Look,
Like wet Fat Rogers, because he's out in the streets just like Eric Adams. I call Eric Adams Fat Adams because he always has somebody soak a fat.
Listen,
Aaron Rodgers is the explanation. He's the reflection of get a load of this guy over there.
he's living his best life after being in a cheese city for all his career. Y'all want to judge him? Let him live.
He's out here, strutting and buttons all over the damn place.
His buttons.
Was he at that white party? Was he at that white party too? Oh
no.
Not the white party.
I don't think he was invited to that.
He was invited to
because Tom Brady was there.
Yeah, only goats are allowed there. He's not on that level.
Retired. What?
Speaking of, apparently the rumor going around is Tom Brady and Kim Kardashian might be dating.
I mean, everything shows me that she's not dating black people anymore. She lost about 30 pounds. She's completely blonde. She's not tan anymore. She lost about 40 pounds. No more curves for her. I feel like the Kardashians are now like they're culture vultures too, and I feel like they're done vulturing. So now, they're all like a size 2. They don't have big butts and stuff anymore. They're not dressing all urban. She thinks that she's like the Khaleesi from Game of Thrones now. So that's highly possible.
I mean, Kylie and Kendall ain't give it up yet. They still outside.
Well, Kendall's dating Bad Bunny, and I don't know. Kylie is dating a white guy now.
No, ain't she still with Travis Scott?
No, she's dating some actor named Timothy Chalamet or whatever his name is.
Oh, not Chalamet.
I'm just saying what. I mean, this is completely off balance, but what the fuck happened to Chris Humphries? Like, what happened to him? Like, what happened to him? Like, we need to put a location on my man. Like she left him for Kanye, had kids, and he got kicked out of the league, and we haven't seen him since. Like, he was pretty good on the Nets. I know Pete was a fan.
There was a lot of people at this Reuben party. This
Always a lot of people at the Reuben party.
Nah, but I'm looking at the names. Usher and Neo was there doing spur in the moment performances. Both.
Oh shit! Neo left the house.
I know, right?
You gotta relax.
Everybody was there. Lori Harvey, Haley Bieber, the Kardashians, Lala. It was a J and B. Like everybody was
that
there.
man. Michael Rubin's the man. He got a lot.
I don't know why everybody was at this particular one. Like, it wasn't like this last year. It wasn't like this the year before either. Wonder if he was just handing out money or something.
Well, mind you, this is the first COVID-free summer.
Completely free, yeah. Matt muted himself, and he's been.
It's hard work being a single dad. One is trying to be on the camera, the other don't want. Like, she wants to talk, but then she's like, oh, she catches herself in mid sentence, and she's like it's a lot. It's hard work. See, the one that wants to be on camera.
Yeah, she's like, yeah. Corey Dillon, former Bengals running back. He's upset that he was not voted into the Ring of Honor. The Ring of Honor is basically the Hall of Fame for that said team. And with him having career stats better than a lot of other running backs, he's upset that the season ticket holders get to vote him in, vote the players in.
I'm upset we're talking about this. Hey. So, we have a damn about the Cincinnati Bengals. Not
you
one.
Need to stop. That man won the Patriots damn title.
Yeah, Patriots.
Yeah,
not Cincinnati. Patriots. Not Cincinnati. So what you mad about? You need to talk to Bill Belichick on why you not,
He's right though.
I guess.
I mean, but you can't argue against the people. The people want what they want. The people ain't want your ass. So it is what it is. You can't change the voting because it didn't skew in your favor. But he's right for feeling a little slighted.
He's right for feeling a little bit away, but I don't know. Pete, your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know why he isn't in the Ring of Honor. He's the best damn Bengals running back in a long time. 7 years, set several franchise records, 3 Pro Bowl selections in his 7 seasons. He one time with the Patriots. He did play his final 3 years with the Patriots. Retired with over 11,000 career yards. And he was a second round pick. And in his first season, he ran.
It's yours.
For 200. I mean, he rushed 39 times for 246 yards and 4 touchdowns in a win that broke Jim Brown's rookie single game record. At that point, that was enough. That game alone, to this day, remains a Bengals rookie record for carries, yards, touchdowns, and a franchise record for touchdowns in a game. There's no reason why Corey Dillon should not be in the Ring of Honor. I agree with him, though, about more so with his point of why the hell are fans determining who's in the Ring of Honor? I'll give you a season ticket holder or not. This should be an organizational decision.
What are you doing?
It should be a team decision, not a fan decision. Because just because you're a great player doesn't mean that I may have been a fan.
They gotta hold on. They in Cincinnati. They gotta sell these ticket packages.
You gotta give them a reason. But hey, y'all get to vote on people that y'all may have never seen before.
Exactly.
I bet you most of the people who voted probably ain't never seen Corey Dillon play.
They probably did because, if you're in Cincinnati, people don't just go to Cincinnati just like they come to New York and they're transplants from other parts of Ohio. Like, if you're there, you from there. Period. Right. So They gotta Mr. Massage isn't working. Ma'am? Hi, ma'am?
And it's not like
Sweetheart?
they watching anything else except for the Cincinnati Reds and maybe Cincinnati College basketball.
Yeah, that's you're right. But still, if I'm him, I'm upset.
My massage wasn't working and I was not happy.
What?
You need to get up and be like, all right, well, this ain't it.
I needed
Not the
to
massage
cancel.
not working.
Yeah, I was just trying to get my lady's attention.
My.
The last topic is NBA free agency. NBA free agency.
Matt's favorite
guess who's
topic.
back? Guess who's back in the comment section?
Yeah, Vin, where the hell you been?
Hey,
Fucking up, man. Where you been? Acting like
He
you don't
said
know
that
nobody.
he said he don't watch the show like that because I agree with you too much and you've been talking the whole damn time. So it's like you taking the spotlight off of everybody else and you hogging all the time. So that's what he told me, that he don't watch the show no more because it became the Matt show.
Wow. Is that so? Say less.
It's true.
Don't be quiet.
I guess he misses that I used to like not agree with you so much, and now like you've been for the most part like 77% of the time like you make sense. I guess because the season hasn't started yet, and we really don't have much to argue back and forth about. So it's been kind of tame recently. So I mean, that's what it is.
So you saying that the consensus likes when we argue? Is that what you're saying?
I said Vin said
No, but
Vin said that you talk too much, and he liked it better when I used to put you in your place. So that's on period.
on period poop.
Period pool. That's when Mary had a little lamb.
Oh, that's
I
serious.
don't know
man.
whether to talk less or just let you interrupt me all the time so Vin can continue to watch.
You always did the interrupting. And why you know what I just realized? Like, why you in a do-rag?
Just felt like I want to do that.
A little more. Yeah, right here. Look, right here.
Y'all are funny. I remember those days, bro. Pete,
What
it
days?
was them days. Pete, before you came on, oh Lord, bro. Oh man, we had a little gap, but it was three of us. These two was at it.
Oh, I can imagine.
No, you can't. It was crazy.
Well, you know, we're at two different points in our lives right now. Like, Matt is having his bad bitch renaissance, and I'm having my soft girl life.
Uh-huh.
So it's like it's really hard for me to, get out of character. Oh my God, what is going on here?
That's
Why are
hilarious.
y'all making so much noise? What is up with y'all? Like,
Because they want to be part of the show.
clearly, like,
They love it. You should be happy. They want to be. My daughter is 15. She don't want no parts of me. I'm like, hey daughter, you want to go to the Barbie cafe? She's like, can I go with my friends? I'm like, well, F you too. There's the fuck no. I said, you're not going with me. You're not going at all.
You gonna do that to me?
open it back.
Yeah.
Nah, that's facts though. She can't go with you. She can't go. That's it.
That is not
Period.
right. At 14 and 15, we was not jacking being around our parents. I was
Yeah,
outside.
but when I was 14, that was such a different era. Like these kids, I mean, this world is shitty.
Just like I tell y'all, daddy recording, so y'all can't
And
talk
you
so
know,
much. Y'all still talk.
A couple of months ago, my daughter almost got abducted on a train.
Wait, what?
What?
Yes. Some guy tried to talk to her on the train. He had a little bit more with that. He tried to talk to her, and when she wouldn't go with him, he tried to grab her.
Oh nah.
And luckily, my neighbor was on the train with her, and God knows what would have happened. So, of course, like I'm a little bit more overprotective than usual, but then I also understand that these kids gotta live life too. But damn, this world is scary. It's not the world that we grew up in at all.
Oh, far from it. We're far from it. But last topic, free agency, y'all. Primarily Damian Lillard, hashtag free Dame, as Matt would say, and James Harden, who doesn't know what the hell he wants to do in his basketball.
Nah, I don't want to talk about James Harden. You know what?
Hoe.
Me and Matt are on the same page when it comes to Damian Lillard. Let him go. He did all he could do for the Trailblazers. There's nothing left for that man to do. You know what I'm saying? Let him go. Let him go to Miami. Let him go where he wants to go. He deserves to be with a real contender.
Mm-hmm. Some people were saying that Boston.
Hell no. He doesn't want to go to Boston. Stephen A. has made that very clear. He doesn't want to go to Boston, and none of us wants to see him in Boston at all.
No, absolutely not.
I do not want to see him in Boston. I hardly want to see him in Miami. I can live with him being in Miami, but I don't really want to see him in Miami. I want him in New York, truth be told.
For what? You want to see him in New York for what? To get out the second, to get stopped in the second round by Miami?
Y'all roster ain't the same as last year. I don't even know if y'all motherfuckers getting out the second round.
As long as y'all got Julius Randle, we better than y'all. As long as y'all got Julius Randle,
I got no rebuttal. I got no rebuttal for that. You got that.
Wait, Julius Randle went to the Nets?
No. We're talking about New York in general.
As long as Julius Randle is in a New York Knicks uniform, I'm not worried about the New York Knicks.
I want Dame in New York. Brooklyn or the Knicks, I don't care.
I want him in Miami. I think he deserves. Let me tell you something. That man he deserves to be a part of the winning team.
I can live with it though. I'll be okay with it. I'm not going to be happy about it, but hell, at least I know there's a shot that I can see him be Dame in a goddamn playoff setting. I fucking hate the Blazers. I never liked the Blazers. I gave him a shot with Brandon Roy. You saw what happened with that. Gave him a shot with Greg Oden. I gave him a shot when they had LaMarcus Aldridge. And it just kept like Dame and CJ McCollum did the best that they could. Let Dame go. Let him go. Y'all been rebuilding since Brandon Roy. It makes no sense at this point. Let him go. He did 11 years in the Portland Penitentiary. He needs to be free. Somebody needs to say, like,
medicine right here is bleeding. Thank you.
So according to Vin, Dame's acting like a prima donna. He got his money. The Blazers don't owe him shit. He got to give more than one destination. He also says Dame is loyal to Portland until he wants to jump to a team in the finals 5 minutes ago and nowhere else. Pray for Chauncey. I don't know, Vin. I can't agree with that.
Hell no.
I can't agree with that.
Jay, you got this, or you want me to handle it? You got this.
Go ahead.
You got to defend your team. Defend your goddamn team. Go ahead.
Oh no, Portland not my team. I defend Dame when he come to Miami. He's still in Portland. So
first of all, 11 years is enough time to be on the team and be loyal and not even acknowledge the thought of joining up with a super team. He gave Portland 11 years to get their shit together, and they have been rebuilding from day one, and they just haven't built shit. Let's be realistic. How much more can somebody waste their whole career and not do nothing? The team wants all of this stuff for Dame, but then they're rebuilding. For what? You should have traded that third pick and got some fucking help. You didn't do it, so he wants to leave. How much more rebuilding do you need to sit down and sit through? Man got at least 5 more years left in his term. He needs to be somewhere where he can compete. He can't compete in Portland. There's no competing in Portland.
There's no competing in Portland. They had several years to build the appropriate pieces to reflect. I think, nobody wants to go to Portland. That's the problem too.
At all.
And the situation is, they've had chance after chance after chance. They've been the underdog for several years now, and I feel like Dame is too good of a talent to not have the ability to compete. For real.
And then he's earned the right to choose where he wants to go. let's be realistic. He's legit earned the right to choose where you want to go. There's stars that get off of their rookie contract and be ready to dip off rip. He did 11 years there. Like, come on, bro. Who says the organization shouldn't get a good deal for? I'm not saying the organization shouldn't get a good deal for him. I'm saying in general, you have been rebuilding. All you want is picks. That's pretty much all you can capitalize off of a rebuild. Is picks. Why should a man who's already in his prime, about to leave his prime, have to sit through another rebuild, man? Like, be realistic. He can go to Miami. Can give him a good deal. They can give up a good deal. They can give up picks. It's all about. Huh?
Go ahead.
No. What was you saying?
And he did what a lot of superstars this era hasn't done. He stayed there for over 10 years. And a lot of people, when things aren't working after 2, after 3, after 4 seasons, they're ready to skedaddle and chase a ring with LeBron, or chase a ring with this person, or chase a ring with that person. So something has to be said for the commitment that he's shown.
Would your job help you get a new job when they let you go? Look, when you have been the model employee that you have for 11 years, you can't call on them for a reference. God damn it, he needs a reference.
This is true. You speaking facts, Matt.
Let's be real. He's also the dummy that stayed. He's also the dummy that stayed too long. I hear you, but then again, shouldn't he be awarded for his loyalty though? Then 11 years of making that franchise relevant for them to just tell you, look, we still want you to stay here. We want you to rock with you, but we ain't going to be competing because we want to get some new guys in here. We want to get some young guys in here, and maybe we could shake something and scratch the first round or the play-in tournament. Who the fuck wants to do that? 11 years in the same goddamn system, different fucking coaches, players that you were rocking with, and players that was in the trenches with you, like CJ McCollum, they're gone, and you pretty much traded him to basically solidify that you're in a rebuilding stage again. Like, come on, bro. He deserves better. He's too great of a talent to be wasting his whole career in a wasteland, bro. Even Charles Barkley got away. Like, he got away. Like, come on, bro. They not winning, bro. They not winning. Portland is not winning, bro. And I forgot all about Sam Bowie, man.
And they're also screwing themselves in the foot because of what they're asking for. Apparently, the rumor going around, they're asking for a minimum of 4 first-round picks plus 2 ready-level players right now.
And you want to hear something crazy? Dame is such a model citizen when it comes to playing and being professional. He's not going to do what James Harden did. The Portland Trailblazers are going to fuck this up. They're not going to trade him. He's going to start the season in the Trailblazers uniform, and that's going to be the only talk about this whole year. And then what precedent are you setting for future stars that are playing on your team? The first chance they get, they're going to skate. Why? Because you're showing no loyalty. You're not showing no appreciation for the 11 years that he put on for that goddamn team in that city.
I agree, Vin, when you say this is a business. They don't owe him when the wrong move today can get people fired tomorrow. I can understand that in the business sense. And Portland could do whatever they please. Portland, if they feel like sending him to Shanghai, they can send him to Shanghai. If they felt like sending him
to Boston,
to the abyss, to OKC, where they got all of the picks, they can do that. They can send them to the Spurs. They can send them wherever they want. What we're essentially saying is the fact that Damian Lillard has persistently for the past 10, 11 years tried to make Portland a destination for people to see, for them to want to come to Portland. And the Portland Trailblazers have dropped the ball every single time.
Consistently. Over 2 decades. Well over 2 decades.
Let's even start about them trading LaMarcus Aldridge when LaMarcus Aldridge was in his prime and Damian Lillard was young. Are you crazy?
Sent them to the Spurs.
There was no return that they got from that. Zero return that they got from that. But Pete, James Harden. I know Tay and Matt call him a hoe. He's definitely a hoe. I agree with him on that. But your thoughts on James Harden and him opting into his option year, and what is he going to do? Like, where do you think he will land?
Clippers.
I honestly don't care where he lands. I think he a hoe as well. I think that one of the interesting things is Udoka, because apparently initially Harden wanted to go back to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
That was his big thing. And the reason why that ended up not happening is because Ime Udoka said he has zero interest in coaching James Harden.
Zero.
He had zero interest in coaching James Harden.
Hoes always shun other hoes.
I don't want that hole on my team. There's only room for one hole here.
It's crazy. To this day, I still got respect for James Harden on the court. It's just how he been carrying himself, bro. It just don't be making no sense.
He carrying himself like a hoe on court too.
Nah, not averaging like 14 assists and 20 points per game. I mean,
in where does he average that at?
In the season, you got it.
In the season?
In the regular season.
Okay.
You got it. But I'm just saying, like, your best chance of even competing is on Philadelphia. I don't know why you want to leave that situation. I mean, I'm not too sure what Nick Nurse is going to change or do. I feel like Nick Nurse is going to make Tyrese Maxey a lot better. But, yeah, I think Philly needs to start thinking about what they're going to do with Joel Embiid, because there's going to come a point in time he's going to skate. Because he's, the life capacity of a center. In the NBA, it ain't that long.
Pete, would you take James Harden back to Brooklyn?
No, I would not. I wouldn't. I wouldn't take him back even if you paid us to do it. I just listen. The man's about his money. He's shown that already. The man's solely about his money. I don't think he's a baller, but he's about his money and he's about where he could get his opportunity.
I don't agree, because he's turned down maximum contracts. He took less in Philly. Last year, he opted out to get a lesser contract. So I don't think it's about the money. I just don't know what the fuck. I really don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's lost a lot of money over the last 3 or 4 years to try to figure out where he wants to go. He is for the streets.
I think there's a lot wrong with her. The rumor is that he wants to go back to LA, to go to the Clippers. They've got nothing to give up.
Paul George. They give up Paul George.
That's the thing. The Clippers want to put him with Paul and Kawhi. They don't want to get rid of either one.
They're trying to get rid of Paul George. They're trying to trade him to the Knicks.
I will say, thank you for mentioning it. I will say the greatest thing about the James Harden situation is we are not hearing the Knicks name come up.
We were.
And I'm glad that it's not the case.
Man, I'm glad too. We have enough point guards on the Knicks. I don't know why would you even entertain that shit. I'm already still a little salty that they got rid of Obi Toppin, but I mean, I feel like he's gonna do better in Indiana. He's gonna get more playing time, but behind being in the shadow of that bum ass nigga Julius Randle.
Your favorite Knick?
No, he's not. No, he's not. Yeah, he needs to go. He needs to go. I'm just,
bro. That 20 points per game, that 20-something points a game, not worth it.
Stop.
Not worth it.
I don't know why you mention that shit. Pete be getting me tight when he bring that shit up. These damn stats. Just annoying. 20 points per game and we still losing because you fumbled the bag at the end of the goddamn game. This is ridiculous. What?
But
what's wrong?
Guys, that was the episode. Shout outs to all of us here on the Yerrr Sports Show. Shout outs to friends of the show, everybody who watches. Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to again Vin Forte. We definitely gonna have him back on. And guys, stay cool. It is hot as shit outside.
Yep.
It's humid. It is so humid. I cannot could not say any more to stay cool. Tay's running nail salon now, so that's what she just showed us. So for the voice of a generation, Pete Rosado. For BK Matt.
Because you gotta relax.
And the babies.
Just doing
for
all
the Queen Tay. It is your boy, Big Baby, signing off.
Say Yerrr.
Peace.
Say Yerrr. Go ahead, say it. Say Yerrr. Say it.